You laughed today. At your phone, probably, on your own, in a quiet room, at something nobody else could hear. You barely made a noise doing it. One breath out through your nose. Now take that exact sound and put it back where it came from. It's 40,000 years ago. It gets dark at 4 and stays dark for 16 hours. There's one fire, and around it there are maybe 30 people. And you will be in that shelter with those same 30 people tonight, tomorrow night, and every night for the rest of your life. Everyone in that room is armed, because the tools you eat with are the tools you'd hunt with. There are no police. There is no law. There is nowhere to go. And in that room, laughing is not entertainment. It's the single most useful sound a human being can make. And it's the only one nobody can fake. Finding out exactly when this started is a problem. Laughter leaves absolutely nothing behind. Everything else we know about these people, we know because they dropped it. Stone tools, bones, beads, charcoal, handprints on a wall. Laughter drops nothing. No object, no layer in the dirt. You cannot dig it up. So for a long time, the honest answer to when did we start was a shrug. Then in 2009, a researcher at the University of Portsmouth called Marina Davila Ross found a way around it. Her method was simple. She tickled baby apes. I would love to have seen the funding application. Orangutans, gorillas, chimps, bonobos, and human babies. She recorded every squeal, then sorted the recordings purely by how similar they sounded. Nothing else, just the audio. And built a family tree out of noise. The tree that came out matched the real evolutionary tree of apes, almost exactly, which settles it without a single fossil. Laughter isn't ours. We inherited it, and it's somewhere between 10 and 16 million years old. But the most revealing detail isn't the sound, it's the face. Look at what you do when you laugh. You pull your lips back and show your teeth. Now go and watch a monkey do that. In macaques and in chimps, baring your teeth with a closed mouth is not friendly. It's the face you make at something bigger than you. It means, don't hurt me. That's where the smile comes from. Our warmest expression grew out of a fear grimace. The face of the animal at the bottom of the pile, telling the one above it that there's no trouble here. We took a signal that meant, please don't, and turned it into the thing we do when we're happy. I find that genuinely strange, and I think about it a lot. Think back to that shelter. 30 people, nowhere to go. 2 young men are wrestling by the fire. Everyone can see it, and every single person watching has to answer one question fast. Is that a game? Or is that the beginning of something that ends with somebody getting severely hurt? Because they look identical. Grabbing, pinning, play fighting, and real fighting use the same body. That question is what laughter was built to answer. Watch any young ape play fight and you'll hear it. A breathy panting noise, over and over the whole time. It isn't a reaction to anything funny. It's a label. It means, this is a fight and it isn't real. Take the sound away and the other one stops playing and starts defending himself. That's also what tickling is, by the way. Tickling is a pretend attack. Ribs, neck, belly, every ticklish spot on you is somewhere you'd genuinely be worried about a hand going. Your body treats it as an attack and laughs, because the laugh is what says the attack isn't real. And it explains something you can test right now. Try to laugh properly on command. Didn't work. You can fake crying, you can fake anger, you can fake a smile well enough to survive a family dinner, but a real laugh will not come when you call it, and everyone in the room hears it when you try. In 2014, a researcher at UCLA called Greg Bryant proved how deep that goes. He took real laughs and fake ones, slowed them all down, and asked people a single question about each, human or animal. Fake laughs, people got right about 2/3 of the time, obviously human. The real ones split 50-50. Half the listeners heard an animal. Slow down a genuine laugh and it stops sounding like a person because it isn't coming from the part of you that talks. It's coming from underneath, from the part that was already running before anyone could say a word. And that is what makes it valuable. A signal you can fake is worth nothing. This one you cannot fake, which is why 30 people in a dark room could trust it. Then there's the harder problem, not the people you know, the stranger walking in. Because ancient humans did something almost no other animal does. They met strangers and they didn't attack them. We know because their stuff traveled. Obsidian turns up hundreds of kilometers from the volcano it came out of. Seashells turn up deep inland, nowhere near any coast. Somebody handed that to somebody else and nobody was harmed over it. For most animals, a stranger of your own species is a threat. Full stop. For us, it's a coin flip, and you get about 30 seconds to call it with no shared language, in the open, holding a spear. So what do you go on? In 2016, that same Greg Bryant recorded pairs of people laughing together. Some pairs were old friends. Some had met a minute earlier. He cut the clips to about 1 second and played them to listeners in 24 different societies around the world, including people who share no language and no history with anyone else on the list. 1 second of 2 people laughing. No words, no context. In every single society, people picked out the friends from the strangers better than chance. Think about what that that means for the person with the spear. He can't understand a word this stranger is saying, but if the stranger laughs with his own group, he learns something real about them in about a second, and there is nothing they can do to fake it for him. That's not a nice extra. That's border control, running on a sound. And around the fire, it did the other job. In 2014, an anthropologist called Polly Weisner recorded what people actually talk about in a hunter-gatherer camp, by day and after dark. In daylight, it's logistics, land, food, complaints. After dark, over 80% of it turns into stories, jokes, and ceremony. The fire changed the conversation, and the thing holding 30 people in that conversation night after night for their whole lives was the sound they made together. There is a catch, though. The machinery doesn't actually need you. In 1962, at a girls' school in Kashasha, in what's now Tanzania, 3 students started laughing and could not stop. 95 of the school's 159 pupils were affected. The school shut in March, reopened in May, shut again in June. It went home with them. 14 schools eventually closed, around 1,000 people were affected, and it ran for roughly 18 months. Nobody knows exactly what that was, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. The usual explanation is stress moving through a group. But this part isn't in doubt. Not one person involved thought any of it was funny. There was no joke. There was nothing to laugh at. The system just ran on its own for a year and a half, which tells you it was never sitting underneath comedy. Comedy showed up 10 million years late and worked out which lever to pull. This single mechanism changed everything. Apes hold a group together by grooming. Sitting for hours, picking through each other's fur. It works, it releases endorphins, and it caps you at a few dozen animals because you can only groom one at a time. Laughter does the same job to a whole room at once. Robin Dunbar at Oxford tested it directly. 15 minutes of comedy watched with other people raised the pain threshold by about 10%, which is what endorphins do. A calm video did nothing. Laughter took the ceiling off, and every single thing our species is proud of runs on group size. More hands, more eyes, more people who know where the water is and which plant poisons you. The sound you made at your phone this afternoon is a load-bearing wall. So here's the full picture. Laughter leaves no fossils, so we dated it by tickling baby apes and building a family tree out of the sound. 10 to 16 million years old. The face came from a fear grimace. The sound came from play fighting, and it exists to mark the difference between a fight and a game. You can't fake it and you can't do it to yourself, which is exactly why it was worth trusting. It told 30 people in the dark that everything was fine, and it told a man with a spear whether the strangers walking towards him were friends. Tonight you'll laugh on your own, at a screen, and make almost no sound at all. 10 million years of machinery. Built for a fire, 30 people, and a stranger at the edge of the light. It still works. It's just never been this quiet. If you like finding out that your most ordinary habits are 100,000 years old, that's the entire channel. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.